Hello, welcome back to another video, the final installment of my ranking series, I guess that's probably what it's called. And this time I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favourite albums. I saved the best to last because I just kind of wanted to start off with something positive, like the top 10 singles video, and move on to the really shit side of it. And I'm really sorry for the last video if I sounded like really boring or dull or motionless, just because I was like, I don't know what it was with that day, but I was just so tired. I just kind of wanted to get this video over and done with and not have to wait another few days to record it. So sorry about that, but my energy is back because I've got a lot to go through today. These albums that I'm about to list are chef's kiss. I mean, these artists came into the studio and was like, you know what, I'm about to make one of the best fucking albums I could ever fucking create. Because yeah, these are some great albums. And before, I know it's kind of that regular-ish thing now. I want to go through some honorable mentions. I have the list on my phone, so I'm just going to read it out one by one. Starting off with the long-awaited debut album by Lil Nas X. A lot of bangers, like Industry Baby. I mean, that song was fucking fire. But it also showed his emotional side too, which I enjoyed just as much. Next, I have Screamin' Forest by Cemetery. A lot quieter than his first project released this year, but still crazy and great nonetheless. La Machina by Conway the Machine showed some of the best lyrical ability from any rapper this year. Project X by Ken Carson was an album, or a mixtape I should say, that really grew on me this year. A nice 30-minute mixtape which shows the good side of Carti's influence. Next, an album that I don't like as much as I used to, but it's still pretty good. I have An Evening with Silk Sonic by Silk Sonic. Now, the last album I have on my honorable mentions list is The Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. A great, versatile project with amazing production. Top 10 albums of the year. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may be shocked and surprised by some of my picks, and some of you may for some reason be in disagreement, but you know, I'm always right, like it says in my bio. This is not a place for constructive criticism. Whatever I say is right. Starting off with my number 10, I have The Life of Pierre 5 by Pierre Bourne. Producer, rapper, Pierre Bourne comes out with one of the greatest mixtapes to be released this year, filled with so many songs that I just kept on going back to, and at some points I just genuinely had on repeat. What he gives us on this project are some very nice, smooth and chill vocals, along with his beats. But don't get me wrong, there is nothing special about his lyrics, but my god, can he create a hook, like on songs like Retroville and Biology 101. However, this thing isn't perfect, it's nowhere near perfect. The only thing I really have to critique about this project is the length of some of the songs. I just feel like a lot of the songs could be a tad bit shorter, just because, like a song like Hulu, like the first half, I'm like, damn, this song's really good, and I look and I'm like, there's like 3.5 minutes left, so I'm like, damn, this is not as good as it was in the first half. But like I said, aside from that, there really is nothing I can criticize on this whole project. I mean, one thing I really have to commend him for is how he somehow outperformed Playboi Carti and Lil Uzi on the songs they performed on, in my opinion at least. I just feel like they, for artists so big, they just came into their songs with like very lackluster performances. One last thing I want to mention is, like, this is probably the thing I commend him for the most. It's the beats, man. Like, we all know Pierre Bourne is a very talented producer, but my God, it's just like it's amazing. Like, I know a lot of it is kind of not repetitive, but like the beats don't switch up on the songs themselves. The majority of the beats are very different, don't get me wrong, but on the songs there's not like many switch ups, but the repetitive sound is just mesmerizing, man. Like, yeah, it's just very, very good mixtape, and my number 10 project for this year. Next, number 9. This album grew on me significantly, and that album I'm talking about is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, for me, has been an artist that I have found somewhat overrated. I was never a huge fan of Igor or Flower Boy, but I did like Wolf quite a lot. But my God, this album, in my opinion, blows them all out of the park. I think this is by far my favourite album of his. I don't know what it is about his voice, but it just sounds so perfect. Like, it matches with the beats so perfectly, and that's not even an exaggeration. Like, it just feels so correct, if you get what I mean. Like, no one else could use these beats and instrumentals aside from Tyler. He features on this thing too, so surprising for a Tyler album, but so good. Like, for example, NBA Youngboy on the song What's Your Name, which in my opinion is a top 10 feature on any song of this year. Weird collaborations like Lil Uzi and 42 Dugg, which somehow works incredibly on their songs. And this feature isn't necessarily, I didn't really find him weird to be on a Tyler album, but I just wanted to mention him. Lil Wayne on Hot Wind Blows was just, now that, like, this is the thing, like, I can make a whole separate video on this, but I generally feel like Lil Wayne's one of the most underrated lyricists. Like, whether you're an old head or not, you can't deny that this man knows how to write some bars. And one last thing I wanted to mention was the storytelling songs, as Tyler is known for storytelling. Sweet I Thought You Wanted to Dance and Will Share were some of my favourite songs on this album, and it was just, and they were the longest on the album as well, so I was reading through the lyrics and it generally was a nice story, you know, and I wouldn't mind. Like, I know Igor was kind of a concept album, but I genuinely would like to see more of that on his future projects. But his future projects are probably 2 years from now, because, you know, he releases a project pretty much every 2 years, so I'll be waiting patiently, let's just put it that way. Number 8, I have Fishmonger by Underscores. This album is one of the shortest on this list, just coming up to 10 songs and around like 33 minutes, something like that. But my God, these 10 songs are filled with so much passion and great instrumentals that it annoys me that it wasn't longer. This album is also filled with hyperpop bangers like Kinko's Field Trip 2006, which was one of my favourite singles of this year, and Dryland 2001, which was a 7-minute long song, but I loved every minute of it. I mean, I really like the way how this song contrasted, because I wouldn't even say first half, I'd probably say like the first like 2.5-3 minutes was just filled with this, like I said, like a really nice hyperpop song. There was loads of overwhelming emotions that, again, like, it was just great, and I don't know who the lead vocalist is called, but he pitches his voice up on a lot of the songs, and it fits a lot of the instrumentals so well, but I think it probably fits best on this song in my opinion. But then the last few minutes of the track is this instrumental, kind of like an ambient sounding thing, and it's just like, you go from a song so loud but beautiful at the same time to something so quiet and peaceful. It's a contrasting idea that I didn't think would work so well, but it's damn near perfect. If you're looking for a nice short listen, I would definitely recommend this. Coming in at number 7, I have Friends That Break Your Heart by James Blake. This album is full of a lot of sad songs, let's just put it that way. With the songs detailing about the loss of friends and lovers, the emotion is truly shown through James's amazing vocals, not just on this album. I mean, you go to any of his other albums, his voice is like none other. I also like James Blake's experimental side on this as well, with a song like Frozen featuring JID and Suave. Correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is a rap song, a very kind of dark and moody rap song. But this song is on an album filled with mostly alternative ballads. It's a really good song, but it feels a little bit out of place, I can't lie. But yeah, I feel like this might have been better off as a single, but I'm glad it was released anyway. And a song like Foot Forward, featuring none other than the legendary producer himself, Metro Boomin. This is a loud and powerful song, which is just very overwhelming overall. But for me, I feel like the driving factor for this album that made it so great was the messaging and lyrics, because it is very teachable and needs to be listened to by a lot of people, because the message throughout majority of the songs are about acceptance of oneself. It's shown with it's very like depressing, eye-opening, but uplifting at the same time. Number 6. Oh my god, this mixtape is the loudest, most abrasive, craziest, headache-inducing mixtape, I think, not even just this year, but probably of all time. I'm talking about Rainbow Bridge 3 by Cemetery. This was, to put it lightly, an experience, to say the least. Trap metal, Chief Keef, and black metal influences are running everywhere throughout this whole album, and it's or mixtape should I say, but I love every minute of it. It is just, I can't get enough of it. There was a few projects that he has released that sadly got taken down, but when I listened to them, I mean, they were good, but this was by far the best. The loudness of this album is so blaring at some points that it is genuinely hard to hear what Cemetery is saying sometimes. The thing that stood out for me the most though throughout this whole mixtape was how goddamn catchy this thing was. For an album so dominated by its loudness, my god, can Cemetery create some earworms. Look, if you don't like this, I totally understand, but I love this. I love the fuck out of this thing. I'm so excited for what Cemetery has in store for 2022. Top 5 albums. These albums are very special to me. These albums are amazing. And these albums are the best of the best. With number 5 being one of the most special albums for me this year, Tyron by Slow Tie. Like I said in my singles video, this album helped me get through a lot of the lockdown, because the start of the year, I feel like there wasn't much being made music-wise that I was enjoying all that much. But songs like Mother, I Tried, and Feel Away just helped me get through lockdown as a whole too. I love the way this thing is set up too, as the first half is filled with songs that hype you up, to the second half being songs that are very moving. It takes the loudness from the first half to something very peaceful and pleasant to the ear. There's just so much greatness within this album, the instrumentals, the features, Slow Tie as a whole. But if his discography keeps on going like this, he will most likely end up being my favorite UK artist. At number 4, I have LP by JPEG Mafia. Banger after banger after banger. This is probably my favorite experimental album of the year, and I mean, this album is filled with incredible, and I mean that to the fullest extent of the word incredible. It has incredible production throughout start to finish. It's just, oh my god. And I'm pretty sure majority was made by JPEG Murphy himself. And like I listened to a few songs from previous albums of his, and I like him too, but I've never really listened to any album all the way through until this one, but I'm definitely going to go through his discography this year. There was also so much variety on this album as well, making it never boring. I was always anticipating what was going to come next. It was just, this shit was all over the place, but in like a good way, if that makes sense. Like there was, you know, you'd have like a really loud beat, and then a really kind of dreamy beat, and then a great sample from a song, and then songs that just make no sense but are just so amazing. I have nothing really bad to say about this album. The only thing that pisses me off is how Hazard Duty Pay could not be on here. I'm pretty sure due to legal reasons. I think there was there was an issue with the sampling, like a copyright issue. I can't exactly remember, but Hazard Duty Pay, now that song is fucking incredible. That is, woo. On number 3, this placement I think will surprise some of you, but clown me what the fuck you want. This is a great fucking album. I am talking about Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. Look, I'm just as surprised as you are. I re-listened to this album a few months after listening to it for the first time, and I was thinking that I was gonna have the same thoughts and beliefs that I had with this project, but I must have been missing some shit, because there were songs that I hated, which I now love. Like I I don't know what made me give this 7 out of 10, but like, it's just listening back to it, I was like, damn, this is like, I didn't really want it to be true, because I was just like, I hated on this shit when I first listened to it, but yeah, it is in my top 3 albums of the year. The lyrics are probably my favorite thing about this album, not just because they're like they're always in my head all the time, or that they're catchy. I just really like how personal they sound, because with a lot of like heartbreak albums, love albums, they're always just like, you make me sad, I still love you, take me back. But you've got lyrics which I'm gonna read out, like it took you 2 weeks to go off and date her and play a piano, but she doesn't know I was the one who taught you Billy Joel, as well as, and I knew how you took your coffee and your favorite songs by heart. I read all your self-help books, so you think that I was smart. So really specific lyrics that kind of show the true emotions that Olivia Rodrigo really feels. If you don't like sad songs, I totally understand it, but I'm a sucker for that shit. And this album was very heartfelt, and an album I will continue listening to in 2022. Top two albums released this year. Now, these albums I love so much. Like, these albums are so far apart from the rest of the albums I've just talked about. I love these albums to death. I love them so much, and I think these are not just the best music released this year, but some of the best music I think released of all time. With number 2 being an album that I actually have on vinyl, Nurture by Porter Robinson. Beautiful, truly beautiful. This album is damn near a 10 out of 10 for me. This album, I could write a whole book on this. This album has some of the most like gorgeous and pretty instrumentals released. And again, I know I said this before, but not just release of this year, but release of all time. Like, look, I'm sure there are many albums with the same kind of sound as this, but for me right now, I don't think I've heard anything like this, and that's why it's so special to me. One thing, and this is probably the thing that I love the most about this, is Porter Robinson's vocals and productions, they show so much, and I know I'm saying that again, I know it's this lot, but there's so much emotion and passion shown through all of this. Mainly shown in songs, for me at least, like Something Comforting, Look at the Sky, Trying to Feel Alive, and my favourite single of the year, Musician. Those songs are mainly like powerful and very hard-hitting songs, but they're also songs that are very peaceful and show the pretty side of things, like Blossom and Wind Tempos. Look, I just I love this album so much. I will cherish this forever. At least I hope I will, because I mean, if it wasn't for the number one album, this would easily be number one. This would easily be number one. But I mean, I'm gonna do a vinyl update soon, because I mean, this thing is very like detailed. Like I don't want to show the vinyl itself just because I think that's my favorite part of it. But you know, got the very nice album cover. This is very nice, showing all the tracks, but it's because it's like a double LP. You got this massive shit here too, and there's like actually no, I don't even want to spoil it, but there's like this where they show all the lyrics, and it's like very beautiful pictures there as well. But you know, which just shows how great this album is, materialistically and musically. But my number one, and I think you kind of all guess what this was gonna be. It is Donda by Kanye West. Kanye West doesn't really need much of an introduction. You already know who he is, and you probably know how much his music means to me. You know, just for example, some of the vinyls I have of his, I have his Kids See Ghosts album, I have Yay, and Late Registration. The wait for this album, don't get me wrong, that was incredibly stressful because it was just delay after delay after delay, but my god, was it worth the wait. For an album so jam-packed for the songs, again, I loved every minute of it, and you know, again, Kanye's production doesn't need to be explained. I mean, I don't think there's been a single project of his where I've disliked much of the production. But again, this album is just filled with so much fantastic ideas from start to finish. One thing that I think was a bit overlooked with this project when I just watched a few reviews of it is that the versatility of this album was something very special, because there was a lot of songs that make you hyped up, there was songs that make you feel emotional, happy songs, chill songs, you name it, it was probably on there. Kanye wasn't the only thing that was great about this album either. I mean, the features on this thing, I mean, Kanye does it again. He did it on Life of Pablo, and he brings even some of the rappers that he featured on there onto this. But again, one of the best things about this definitely was the features, and a lot of them, in my opinion, were probably like top 10 features of any song this year. Like if I had to write one out, I'd probably say that like 80% of it would just be Kanye songs. Just to read a few of the features, you've got Jay-Z on Jail, Playboy Carti on Junior and Off the Grid, The Weeknd and Lil Baby on Hurricane, Travis Scott and Baby Keem on Praise God, Young Thug on Remote Control, Don Toliver and Kid Cudi on Moon, Roddy Ricch on Pure Souls, Andre 3000 on Life of the Party. I could go on and on. And speaking of Life of the Party, the deluxe songs on this thing were also amazing. The songs I mainly want to talk about are Life of the Party, which I talked a lot about in my singles video. I mean, Andre 3000's verse was one of the best this year, definitely made the song as good as it was. You've got Up From The Ashes, which has a very nice guitar-based instrumental, which I hope Kanye does use more, and Never Abandon Your Family, which I was waiting for it, because I remember seeing on this post this thing about the listening parties, and he was like, oh man, like this is one of the best Kanye songs, and it's sad to see that we probably won't ever get it. And I remember listening to it, and I'm like, damn, this is one of his best if he ever releases it. But I was like, yeah, we're probably not gonna get it. And I saw it, and I was like, because you never saw the song title. I don't think the song title was a thing in the listen parties. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I never saw it on the post, so I was like, this might be it. So I left that last. I had like Up From the Ashes, Life of the Party, and Never Abandon Your Family. And once I heard like the instrumental kick in, I was like, yeah, this is definitely the song I've been waiting for. The passionate and heartfelt vocals and lyrics on this song could bring tears to eyes, and this song genuinely, in my opinion, is one of his best. And another passionate and heartfelt song that he released on Donda was Come to Life, and that is genuinely like, it is probably my favourite song of this year. Like, if it was a single, that would easily be number one, but overall, of all the albums and all the singles I've listened to this year, Come to Life is easily like, it's like a 12 out of 10 for me. Everything about this track just, it astounds me, because it's just, I never get the thought process of some of these songs, because I just feel like there's so much, like, I'm not trying to be biased to Kanye, but there's just so much like musical genius in this song. Like you know, the piano ballad. I mean, the piano ballad was like, it's just beautiful. Like, honestly, it's like, words can't describe it. That's why I'm really struggling to. Like, I did just read from my script, but even then, it's. Listen to it for yourself if you haven't listened to it, because my god, it is definitely like a top 10 Kanye song for me. Like, it is, honestly, it is incredible in every sense of the word. It is fantastic, it is brilliant, it is wonderful, it's one of the best. But then you have a song like Off the Grid, which this, like, every single time I had a workout or when I was playing basketball, this song was like 95% of the time like on repeat. Like, it is always makes me pumped up, and it's mainly due to, I think we all know who it is. It's mainly due to 504, because his part on this song is definitely my number one feature of any song this year. And I know it is kind of generic, because I've seen a lot of rap accounts put that as their number one, but I don't blame them, and I completely agree with them. If I kept on going about how much I love this album, this would probably end up being an hour long. But I still feel the same way about it. I still give it like a strong 9 to a light 10. I just love this album. I love it. I love it so fucking much. But one thing I also love is you guys. I want to talk about some of you guys that keep watching my videos. You know, I know this isn't the end of the year, but you know, I've been wanting to do this type of video since like 2018. You know, because I kind of wanted to start a music account around then, but I just never really had the confidence for it. But thankfully to, again, like, all you guys, you've helped me just be proud of what I've made. And you know, some videos hit, some videos don't, but whatever the reception is, if people agree or disagree, it still just, it pushes me further to make more content. And again, I love all you guys so much. Thank you for making, I know it's not been a full year since I started doing this, but just, you know, from, I think it was like April I started doing it to now, it's been great, and I can't wait for more albums to be reviewed this year. Not just album reviews, but other content as well. But I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. But yeah, thank you for watching. Love all you guys, and